So in order to install that application, there are 3 ways, which in my opinion, using Python is the simplest method. So in order to install that application, you need to go to python.org, which is the official website of Python. And after that, you should click on this link, which says downloads. And here in this page, you just scroll down, and now you can see these are different releases of Python. And now we want to install the latest version of Python. And in order to do so, you should install the version with the biggest number. So as you can see, this one is the one with the biggest number because it is 312. These are 311. So I click on this, the one with the biggest numbers. And in this page, I should just scroll down. And now because I'm on Windows and I have a 64-bit Windows, so I should click on this. And as you can see in the description, it says recommended. This is a thing which is recommended to install for Windows if you have a 64-bit Windows. So I click on it, and now I should wait for the download process. So this is the file which I have downloaded. So I right-click and click Run as Administrator. And here in this page, make sure to check this one. This is very important. If you don't check this one, you cannot even continue this installation process because later on, we are going to use a black window. And if you want to use that black window to install other stuff, you need to check this one, which says add python.exe to path. So you should check this one. And after that, you want to customize the installation. So I click on this. In this page, we don't need to do anything, so I press next. And now in this step, I should specify the install location. For example, suppose that in this path, I want to create another folder, and let's name it, for example, Python 3.12.6, because this is the version which we have just installed. So that's it. And suppose that I want to install Python in this specific location. So I click here, and I copy this path, and here I delete all of these stuff, and I paste this one, and I press install in order to install Python. And as you can see, it is creating files and folders, which means it is installing Python in this specific location. So that's it. You can see the setup was successful. So I press the close button. So now we have installed the Python, but now let's install the Lute application itself. In order to do so, you should press Windows and R key on your keyboard simultaneously. And after that, a window like this will be shown, and here we should type CMD. CMD means command because we are going to open the command window. And I press OK, and as you can see, this is the command window. And here I should simply type pip install, and remember that it is pip space install space, and then I simply type Lute3. That's it, and I press enter. And remember that it should have internet connection, and you should wait for the downloading process and also the installation process. So actually what we are doing here is we are installing a Python package, a Python module, a Python library called Lute3. That's it. And that was the reason which we have installed Python, because actually this application is a Python package, as a Python module. So that was the easiest way, in my opinion, to install this application. So that's it. As you can see, we have installed that application as well. So let's close this command window. So now we have installed the Python and the Lute application. And from now on, whenever you want to run the Lute application, you should do the following. Step number one, you should press Windows and R key on your keyboard simultaneously. And you can see this window will be shown. And here you should type CMD, means command window, and you should press OK. And this is the command window. And here you should simply type Python and space -m space and lute.main, and you should press enter. And as you can see, it says Lute is running. Open a web browser and go to this URL. And here is a very important note, and that important note is this, that you shouldn't close this command window while you're using the Lute application, because actually the Lute application is running, and actually you're running the Lute application using this command window. If you close this command window, the Lute application will be closed and you cannot use it. So remember that when you want to use the Lute application, you should not close this command window. You should minimize it. So this is a web browser, and I go to this location. And by the way, I'll put all of these stuff, all of those commands and all of these URLs in the description below, so you don't need to type them manually, and you can simply copy and paste them. So anyway, so I should type this URL, and after that I should press enter, and here is the Lute application. And the first question that you may ask is this. You may ask, oh, what are these files? I haven't, for example, specified any language where all of these files are coming from. So actually, this is a demo. And if you want to remove all of them, as you can see, it says when you are done trying out the demo, click here to clear the database, and we want to do so I should click here in order to clear out the database. And as you can see, it says the database has been wiped clean. Have fun. So now once again, if I click on this in order to go to the home section, and you can see that here we don't have anything because we have cleared all the stuff. So as you can see, as it says, the first step is creating a language. But before that, let's talk about the theme, because I myself don't like the current theme. In order to change the theme of this application, you should go to settings, and once again, settings. And here, as you can see in this part, which says theme, you have a list of different themes which you can use. For example, this is the dark slate, and if I press save, as you can see, this is a dark theme. But to be honest, I don't like any of these themes, so that's why I coded a theme for myself. This is that file Sajjad, which is my first name, dark01, because I have coded some other themes as well. But this is my favorite one. And I will put the link to this CSS file, which is a theme which you can use in that Lute application. And it's free. You can download it. I will put the link in the description. So here's a question. Suppose that we have this file. So the question is, how can we apply this theme, this template for our Lute application? For doing so, the first step is to know where the Lute application is located in our computer. And in order to do so, you should simply search for IDLE on Windows, and as you can see, one of the options which it shows is IDLE Python 3.12, because we have just installed Python 3.12, and this is IDLE. So remember that it is IDLE, because I know that there are some people who have heard of a term called IDE. It is not IDE, it is IDLE. So you should click on it, and here I simply type import Lute, and I press enter. And here I simply type print, and in the parentheses I simply type Lute dot underline underline file underline underline. And here I press enter, and as you can see, this part of this path is the path to the Lute application. So let's copy this and let's close this window. So I click here and I paste that path and I press enter. So this is the path of the Lute application. This is where the Lute application is located in our computer. And now we should go to themes. And as you can see, this is a folder called CSS. So I should open it. And here is the list of the themes of the Lute application. And if I want to copy that theme, which I have mentioned before, so I should copy this. And I should paste it here. That's it. And now if I go to the Lute application, if I go to settings, and here if I scroll down, as you can see, now I can see that theme. But if you couldn't see that theme, which we have just installed, you should press F5 on your keyboard in order to refresh this page. And after that, you can see that file which we have added. So I click on it and I press save. And now, as you can see, we have successfully added our theme. So now let's add a language. So in order to do so, I simply click on this, which says create your language, or I can go to settings and languages. And in this page, I can click on create new. And here, as you can see, it says load from predefined, and I click on, and I should choose English. So Let me search for English. Yeah, this is English. And this field is the name of your database. It is an arbitrary name, and you can name it whatever you want. For example, suppose that I want to name it ENG. And for example, suppose that you and, for example, your mother or your brother are learning together, for example, and you want to use the same application. For example, for yourself, you are going to create, I don't know, for example, a database called ENG Sajjad. My first name is Sajjad. And maybe for your mom, you would call it ENG Mom. For your brother, you would call it ENG Brother, and so on. So this is the way which you can use in order to have multiple databases. That's it. But anyway, this is an arbitrary name, so I will choose this name for my database. So now let's talk about the dictionaries part. The first thing I need to mention is this, that you need to add at least one dictionary for words and one dictionary for sentences. This is a must. So in order to do so, you should click on this, and suppose that I want to use these dictionaries. So the first one is an English to Persian dictionary, which is my own native language. So I go to this website, and for example, I simply type test, that's it. And I go to the other one is the Cambridge Dictionary. So I go to its website and I type test, and I do the same for the Longman Dictionary and also for Google Translate, which is English to Persian. So I simply type test, and this is the translation. Anyway, so as you can see in this specific website, this is the URL. So I copy it and I go to the Lute application. And the only thing I need to do is to change this with 3 hashes, because I'm actually converting that URL into a template. I'm saying the Lute application that it should put the word in this place. It's a kind of template. So this dictionary is for words, I mean terms, not sentences. And also I want to use this dictionary as embedded, not pop-up window. But the question is, what is the meaning of embedded and pop-up window? So actually embedded means that you can use that dictionary in the Lute application itself. I mean, like this dictionary. But pop-up window means that later on, when you want to use that dictionary, whenever you click on the tab corresponding to that dictionary, another window will be shown, and you should use that separate window in order to look at the meaning and all the stuff related to that word in that specific dictionary. But remember that some dictionaries do not allow you to use them as embedded. For example, let's add the other dictionary. For example, the other dictionary is Cambridge Dictionary. So I copy this and I paste it here. So I should change this test with 3 hashes. And unfortunately, you cannot use Cambridge Dictionary as embedded. So you must use the pop-up window. And let's add the other dictionary, which is Longman Dictionary. And also, once again, let's replace this with 3 hashes. And once again, you cannot use the Longman Dictionary as embedded, and you must use pop-up window. And let's add another dictionary. This is Google Translate. So I copy it and I paste it here. And here, as you can see, it says text equals to test. So here I should replace this with 3 hashes. And once again, I cannot use it as embedded. I can use it as pop-up window. So that's it. And this is for sentences, right? So here I simply choose sentences. And remember that in the Lute application, you must have at least 1 dictionary for terms and 1 dictionary for sentences. So let's go to the other parts. So here it says show pronunciation field. It means that, do you want to add another field for pronunciation? Yes, I want to add another field for pronunciation. That's why I'm going to check this one. And the other one is this, which it is asking us whether our language is a right to left language. No, English, in this case, English is not a right to left language, but there are some languages such as Persian or Arabic or other languages which they are right to left. So if you're learning those languages, yes, you should check this one. But English is not a right to left language. And I'm not going to change the other fields. But for example, if you're learning Arabic, you should change this field. If you're learning Arabic, you should type something else, which I will put that in the description below. And if you are a learner of another language, and you should put a specific thing for that language. For example, if you're learning Japanese, and for Japanese, you need to put a specific thing. So I would really appreciate it if you put that thing in the comments below so that the other people can use it. Anyway, for English, no, you don't need to change this. But for example, for Arabic, I know that you need to change this thing. And I will put that thing in the description below. Anyway, after doing all of these stuff, you should click on the save button in order to save all the stuff. And as you can see, it says language ENG updated. But now here is a question. How can we use the Lute application? I mean, how can we, for example, import different things such as YouTube videos, such as, for example, books, different texts, and so on? And how can we use, for example, some audio players and add some audio to our, for example, books, or for example, our text, and so on? And also, how can we change the status of the words, make some words well-known, make some words ignored, and change the status of the word to different status, and so on? A lot of other things that you can do in the Lute application for language learning purposes. So the question is, how can we use the Lute application? In order to learn how to use the Lute application, you should watch this video, which is on the screen now. And by the way, I have created a separate playlist for the Lute application, which I have covered almost all the things about the Lute application in that playlist. And I'll put the link to that playlist in the description below.